friend of mine. Nice. I like it. You didn't say that.
And now, the United States Marine Corps Band's rendition of our
Good guy.
national anthem.
Good. I'm glad. I gotta go. All right. Thanks. Bye. Sammy Perlazzo's hair right now looks like the guy in the Sopranos, Paulie Walnuts. Looks like he has white wings. What are we doing, Kevin? All right. All right, great. New York Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Dodge. To get anywhere, you've got to grab life by the horns. Dodge. LoJack, get it and get it back. Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees. And by the new Range Rover Supercharged. Experience the power at your local Land Rover retailer. A little bit of an overcast night here in New York City, but no rain in the forecast whatsoever as we prepare for the first 4 games between the Yankees and the Orioles. Big crowd on hand, of course, here at Yankee Stadium. Yankees have taken the field. Chien-Ming Wang about to begin his warm-ups. And let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup, which is presented, as always, by our good friends at Ricoh. The Orioles come in at 70 and 78. And they will lead off their second baseman, Brian Roberts. The DH is Bernie Castro. He'll bat second. Batting third and playing third, Melvin Mora. The shortstop is Miguel Tejada. He cleans up. Look at his numbers against the Yankees this season. Jay Gibbons in right field will bat fifth. Batting sixth and catching, Javi Lopez. B.J. Surhoff in left field will bat seventh. Walter Young, one of the biggest men in Major League history, will play first base. He'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing center field, Luis Matos.
Chien-Ming Wang trying to make it 2 in a row since coming off the disabled list. He had a victory in his last start against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. This will be his 16th game of the year. His record 7-4 and ERA just over 4, just over a hit per inning. 7 home runs, does a pretty good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Here's our Jeep scouting report on Chien-Ming Wang. He is poised beyond his years. Coming up to the major leagues, nothing seems to faze him. Infielders are on alert because when he's pitching well, there's a lot of ground ball outs, and his changeup. Not many young pitchers can claim this, but he's got a very, very good changeup.
New York Yankees baseball on Yes is presented in high definition where available. We're about to get underway here at the stadium. Orioles come in at 70 and 78. Since the All-Star break, they have not done a good job. They have a new manager. Lee Mazzilli was replaced on August 4th by Sam Perlazzo, and Perlazzo takes the O's into the Bronx. Yankees baseball broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota, with 17 models moving you forward. Wang is ready, so is Roberts. And the young right-hander deals. There's a strike. Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, rings him up. The count 0-1.
Still pretty good numbers for Brian Roberts, but he got off to a great start this season. He was American League Player of the Month for April.
Swing and a miss, and the count 0-2.
And he's also hitting 400 in Yankee Stadium.
Probably could have made a case for him being the MVP in the league the first half of the season. That's what a great start he and the Orioles had gotten off to.
Hitting .275 since the All-Star break. And the 0-2. Strike 3 inside corner. Roberts down looking, and if Wong's going to get that call, he's going to have a good night.
Well, in the dugouts, I've heard Don Mattingly call this the run back pitch, because Brian Roberts thinks it's coming at him, and then it runs back across the inside corner, or close to it. and a generous call. But, well, hey, his brother's a pitcher, right? The home plate umpire, Randy Wolf.
That's correct.
Probably has a little liberal strike zone.
Here's Bernie Castro and a running swing bunt. That's what Casey Stengel used to call the old butcher boy, and he fouls it off.
That does not look like the kind of swing you see from an American League DH.
Not at all, but this is something he did at Fenway Park in a game early this year. And the swing bunt, the old Willie Keeler hit him where there ain't, the Baltimore chop, if you will. And he's perfected it in the minor leagues. He was the MVP of the Ottawa Ball Club. That's the Orioles AAA club in the International League. He had a set a club record for hits. This guy can really run. I mean, he's been up to the major leagues now for a little more than 2 weeks and has stolen 5 bases without being caught. Speed is his game.
He gets to exhibit it right here. Cano charges and flips to Giambi. 2-away. Let's take a look at the game time weather conditions, which are presented by Subway. 81 degrees, low humidity, 11 miles per hour. It's cloudy and it's comfortable. Yankees just came off the road where they were 5-1, losing the final game yesterday in Toronto 6-5. Pitch to Mora's inside, 1-0.
We last saw Melvin Moore in Baltimore. He was having hamstring problems and just hit his 20th home run of the year a few days ago. But he's not having a year he had last year when he drove in over 100 runs. He's got 74 runs batted in now, 20 homers, hitting at .278. He was a .300 hitter a year ago.
And then the 2-0. Grounded right side. Under the glove of Cano. Didn't get the glove down far enough. A base hit for Mora.
I think Robinson, Cano, figuring the only way he's going to get Mora is get it. There you see the pitch out over the plate. Is reach for it and stay on his feet. You know, even if he dives and knocks this ball down, I don't know if he'd been able to right himself and throw out Mora. So tries the long reach and doesn't quite get leather on it.
Melvin has now hit 19 of his last 26 games.
Here's Tejada. And he takes it the other way and through the right side for a base hit. Moore around second. He'll stop right there as Crosby comes up throwing. And the Orioles with runners on first and second with 2 outs.
Well, Tejada's been the Orioles' best RBI man all season long, but when you look at their overall stats on the team, he's got 91 runs batted in. The next guy might be in the 70s somewhere, so he's been carrying a load as far as driving in runs. And you see how he opens up that front shoulder so he can whip the ball through the hole in the right side for a base hit. You know, that was kind of your classic inside-out swing, and Baltimore has 2 men on with 2 men out.
There's Jay Gibbons. Pitches high. Gibbons 0 for his last 15.
Now, the situation we have now has been a problem for Baltimore in the second half of the season. They've hit .244 with runners in scoring position since the All-Star break, and they just have problems scoring runs. Early in the season, everything was going right, and they were scoring.
And that number is the worst number of any team in the American League with runners in scoring position. Sam Palazzo, the new manager of the Orioles, he took over for Lee Mazzilli on August 4th. He's interim. They don't know who's going to manage the team next year. Palazzo would like it to be him. He was one of the finalists when they chose Mazzilli. Been a long-time bench coach for several teams.
Boy, when you follow this organization, going back to when Kenny played there, I mean, they were the model organization for years of success in the big leagues. You see under Maz and under Palazzo, but this whole organization seems like it's been interim for about the last 3 years. The front office, the players, the managers, and boy, it shows you how important it is to keep a team together for 162 games, not just a streak here and there.
Gibbons rockets one fair inside first and past a diving Giambi. Mora will score. Moving to third is Tejada. It's an RBI single for Gibbons, who breaks his 0 for 15 slide, and the Orioles have a 1-0 lead. And that's a problem for Chien-Ming Wang, a 7.71 ERA in the first inning.
Looked like a changeup that kind of rode towards the middle of the plate, and Gibbons was able to go down and get it. After the first 2 men were out easily on a strikeout and a ground out, 3 consecutive singles, and Baltimore's on the scoreboard. You can see Tejada headed for third as Moore has already scored.
Wang has now allowed at least 1 run during the first inning in 9 of his 15 starts. 13 first inning runs altogether. Breaking ball strike for Javi Lopez.
You know, the downturn of the Orioles ball club, but part of it was because of injuries, and Javi Lopez missed at least 6 weeks with a broken hand. He took a foul tip earlier in the season. His hand was broken, and their #1 catcher was on the shelf. We talk about the interim manager. The co-GMs, Jim Beattie and Mike Flanagan of the Orioles, are unsigned for next year.
There's a breaking ball, another strike, and the count 1-2.
Boy, his stuff looks sharp the first inning. Just, you know, like you pointed out, the changeup to Gibbons supposed to be down and away, left it in a bad zone, but Wang's stuff very sharp here early.
Gibbons did not have that much of a lead, held there by Giambi. Giambi's left yesterday's game with back spasms. Could have been 6 straight games on artificial turf, but he's back in there today. Wang taking too much time for Lopez's liking. Count 2-2. Orioles 23-38 since the All-Star break. 28th worst record since the All-Star break in the major leagues. Wang's thrown 17 pitches already. Now he'll throw at least 19 as that one's fouled off.
You see, that's only part of the story, though, because at one time they were 14 games over 500 and leading the American League East. I think that is what's really hurt this team. Beginning of the year, 62 days they spent in first place, and it kind of got the Orioles fans thinking, well, this is our year after 7 straight losing seasons.
The 2-2. Grounded foul.
Yeah, when you're on a team that started out like the Orioles and you see what's happened, that's probably the most desperate. That's probably the most demoralizing team to be on. There's what Kenny's talking to. 18-8. Talking about 18-8 since then 17-31 on the road. Their home record, their entire record. And I think as you talk to some of the Orioles, what sums it up, you say, how are things going? They say 14 games left. You know, it's just taken all the sting out of this team, the way they got off to a great start, and everything's falling apart.
The 2-2. Fouled off the other way. The worst thing that you could see in a big league clubhouse in the last month of the season are those big black plastic garbage bags, because that means people are packing up, getting ready to go home. And It was happening with the Mets last week, and word from the front office got sent down, put the bags away.
Really?
Yep.
Is that what they pack it in with all the money they're making? They don't have those nice Priesmeyer trunks or something?
No, these are really good hefty bags.
Wow.
Yeah, the best kind you could buy. So the Yankees have to hope that the hefty bags are out in the Oriole clubhouse.
Yeah.
And the 2-2. Lopez really battling.
The thing about that, though, Michael, is you talked about the 8 games that the Yankees have, including tonight's game with Ball. In between those 8 games, Baltimore plays 3 games against the Red Sox. So they've got 11 games coming up here that they could have the role of spoilers if they want it.
First and third, 2 outs, 1 run in. Orioles up 1-0. We're in the top of the first, just underway at Yankee Stadium. The 2-2. Hit sharply to second base. Kind of a funky hop that Cano stays with, and that'll do it as Wong wins the battle with Lopez. But the Orioles get a run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Baltimore won, and the New York Yankees coming to bat. Well, the Orioles have given Eric Bedard a 1-0 lead, but what about the Yankees? Let's see the Yankees starting lineup that's going to face Bedard, and it's presented by Rico. The captain and the shortstop, Derek Jeter, will lead off. Batting second and playing third, Alex Rodriguez. Jason Giambi, the first baseman, hits third. Cleaning up and DHing Gary Sheffield. Hideki Matsui's in left field, he'll bat fifth. The number 6 hitter, the catcher, Jorge Posada. Bernie Williams plays center field, he'll bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing second base, Robinson Cano. He's the only guy who probably is not happy to be back in New York. Look what he did on that road trip. In fact, he's been great on the road all year. And the right fielder and batting ninth, Bubba Crosby.
Eric Bedard will make the start for Baltimore this year. He's only made 21 starts. He was on the DL with a sprained knee for quite a bit of the season. His record is 6-7, 124 hits and 127 in third innings. They thought he was going to be their ace pitcher. He was developing that way. Here's our scouting report brought to you by Jeep. This is prior to his knee injury. 14 runs in 60 2/3 innings. After coming back from the knee injury, 40 runs in 66 2/3 innings. You can see that he really lost his ability to get people out. He's only allowed 1 home run to a left-handed batter. That was Dan Johnson of the Oakland A's, a 3-run shot in Oakland.
Derek Jeter digs in. He ended last night's game looking at a called third strike with Robinson Cano, the tying run at second base. And now he leads off this one for the Yankees. And the first pitch is a strike.
And in addition to your scouting report, Kenny, you have Ray Miller, the veteran pitching coach, as you do with most young pitchers. He said he's really trying to help him develop a changeup. He's got a pretty good breaking ball.
Another thing, he was very effective against right-handed batters because he could pound the ball inside, but he couldn't really pitch on the outer half of the plate. And learning the changeup has helped him learn to pitch to both sides of the plate.
And the 1-1.
There's that curveball right there.
He's got a good breaking ball. He's got good stuff. It appeared at the beginning of the year his record was 5-1 prior to his injury. And his record now stands at 6-7. So he has really struggled since coming back. There's a look at that hook that Kitty was talking about, and Derek over the top.
And the 1-2. You know, we talk about whether a team is willing to play hard against another team when they have nothing to play for. You know, Eric Bedard's going to play hard. No pitcher wants to be embarrassed on the mound. He's going to try his best. And usually the rest of the team can take their cue from the pitcher. 2-2. Grounded toward third. Foul ball.
Yeah, batting cage talk tonight with Joe Torre there, and now Dave Cash, former teammate of mine who's coaching first for the Orioles, talking about how exciting it is to be involved in meaningful games in September. And Joe said, yeah, when you think about it, you look back, it starts in February. And I remember talking to Lee Mazzilli in February, and you mentioned Eric Bedard, how excited he was about the pitching staff and their team and how optimistic they were back then.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Jeter down on strikes.
That's why the rewards for doing something over 162 games really should be greater, either with home field advantage. Was that the changeup?
Now I look at it again. It looked like a cutter, or
well, for him, it might have been a change. It said 89 miles an hour. No, it just looked like good low fastball. Maybe a little movement on it.
Here's Alex Rodriguez. Hit the foul screen yesterday for his 44th home run. And there's a strike.
The other battle cry in the dugouts when you're in contention like the Yankees and you're playing a team like the Orioles, that's what Alex has done against Bedard, is strike early and often. You know, you get a comfortable lead against teams like this. That's usually takes their interest out early.
Given out to right field. Gibbons back. He'll make the play for the second out. Kenny and I think that's what happened in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
The Yankees jumped on the Devil Rays, 17 runs, and Devil Rays weren't the same after that.
Well, especially when, you know, Lou Piniella, in the case of Tampa Bay, has said when they've got a chance to win, they're going to use their best relievers near the end. Well, you get ahead of them early, and you're going to start looking at some of their second-line players. Tougher for a team like that to come back.
initially that happened in Toronto too on the road trip. The Yankees got out to an 11-3 lead, but unfortunately the Blue Jays got back in that game. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the series. The Blue Jays played, well, they play hard all the time under John Gibbons.
Here's Jason Giambi. There's one caveat to that, though. The Yankees jumped out 11-3. And speaking of Tampa, Boston jumps out to a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first at the Trop. If Randy Johnson hadn't gotten himself tossed, maybe they don't come back.
Yeah.
The Yankees had to go to the underbelly of their bullpen, and it was 11-10. 1-1. And that game actually had an effect on the Saturday game because they couldn't use Mariano Rivera in the 9th inning, and Tom Gordon got into some early trouble, but a nice play by A-Rod finished the game with a around-the-horn double play. The 1-1. 2-1.
Yeah, that was the buzz of the whole road trip, was the great plays that were made in that Saturday game.
Giambi's had some season against the Orioles. 385, 4 homers, 6 ribbies, a .543 on base percentage. And a one-hopper to Brian Roberts in short right field. He flips it to Walter Young, and that will do it. A 1-2-3 inning for Eric Bedard against the Yankees. We played one at the stadium. Orioles won, the Yankees nothing. You are watching. Yes. Let's take a look at the Yankees' upcoming schedule, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. 3 more games against the Orioles, all at 7:05 tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And of course, they're all on Yes, and each game preceded by a half hour, the Yankee pregame show. Another big house here at Yankee Stadium. 1-0 Orioles as we move to the second inning. B.J. Surhoff will lead off against Chien-Ming Wang. And there's a strike. Bottom third of the order for the O's. Surhoff, Walter Young, and Luis Matos. Slow roller back to the third base side of the mound. Wong, nice play. 1 away. I'll bring up Walter Young. Now in the Orioles media guide, as we take one look at the grounder.
Good sinker. And there's the play by Wong. Pitcher's fielding practice. Successful.
Young is listed in the guide at 322, and the Orioles think that he's the biggest man ever to play baseball. Now he's down to 298. And he taps one back to Wong.
He's the biggest man to play first base in Baltimore since Boog Powell.
Yeah.
And wearing that number 75, there's some people think he should be playing for the Ravens instead of the Orioles.
He could be.
I was talking to him before the game. He hit his first Major League home run the other day in Texas. Straight away, 433 feet. I saw him play in Double-A last year, and he hit 2 home runs one night. And minor league stadiums aren't as well lit beyond the fence. I mean, it disappeared into the night. It must have gone 450 plus.
Yeah, 2 names that come to mind when you look at Walter Young, of big, powerful hitting first baseman in recent years, Calvin Pickering and Sam Horn.
Yeah.
Remember Sam Horn for the Red Sox and also for the Orioles.
Yeah.
Matos has worked the count to 1-1.
Matos, like a lot of these Orioles, has spent some time on the DL. He broke a finger early this year attempting a bunt.
Nice inning by Wong, and a nice play by Cano. 3 soft ground balls, 3 outs in a row. A long stretch by Giambi, who was slow straightening up. And here's why. The throw by Cano and the stretch, the split, and it took Giambi a couple of seconds to get out of that. But a nice play by Robinson to end the 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the second here at the stadium. Orioles 1 and the Yankees nothing. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and Giambi took him a while to get out of this stretch.
This will either loosen it up or, wow, check this out. Oh, that hurts.
Well, he had to leave yesterday's game due to back spasms, and
And for the same reason, he made a stretch on a Derek Jeter throw, and his back starting to spasm, and he said he didn't want it to lock up, so he left early.
Well, all teams now have, Jeff Mangold's the Yankees strength and flexibility coach. They stretch and they exercise. But when you look at Giambi, anybody with back problems, when you've been on the road for 6 days on artificial turf, and the other thing you do is you're riding buses and airplanes, and there's nothing that'll tighten up an already stiff back than having to do that much sitting, as opposed to at home where it's a little more relaxed atmosphere.
Sheffield actually gave the Yankees some bad news yesterday when he said he doesn't think he's going to play right field the rest of the season. That's how bad his left thigh is, and that kind of fills up the DH role, so you can't give Giambi a night off from the field, or Bernie Williams, same deal. So Sheffield will be the DH, and the pitch is low, so he walks on 4 pitches.
Boy, and that can be important in September with expanded rosters, because you get a close game late. You're going to want to, Joe Torre's going to want a pinch run for Sheffield. Early in the year, before the expanded rosters, you didn't have that kind of flexibility.
Matsui yesterday had a couple of hits, and that gives him 50 multi-hit games this year. He's also riding a 6-game hitting streak.
He had a good road trip, 12 for 25. Fouls it back.
He wasn't too far from becoming the second lefty to hit a home run off Eric Bedard on that pitch.
Yeah, that was a good swing. He didn't fool him on the first one. Yeah, Garrett Sheffield's not a small guy, but you can see that. Where is he?
Yeah. And you see that shot, believe it or not, you wouldn't think of these two guys being a contrast, but when Harmon Killebrew would play first base for the Twins and Frank Howard would get on first, we used to giggle from the dugout, because actually that's how big Frank Howard looked. Hondo was about 6'7", and even though Killer was a great home run hitter, he was, I think, maybe about 5'11".
Well, talking to Rick Dempsey, he was saying that Walter Young moves around pretty well at first base. Well, I guess over these 8 games, we'll get a chance to see him quite a bit. And in his day, Boog Powell was a pretty good fielder.
Yes, he was.
There's the Demper.
Dempsey's now the third base coach, with Sam Perlazzo moving to manager. Rick had been the first base coach under Lee Mazzilli. This could be two. There's one, and no throw. It was not a good toss from Roberts to Tejada.
There's an example of what Kenny mentioned at the top of the show and the difference in the Orioles right now. I mean, Brian Roberts is shaking his head. This is kind of a sloppy play. You know, he gives him a little backhand flip. Tejada actually makes a terrific play in making the catch and tapping second base. Galfari had to reach and just grazes the bag with his foot. No chance to turn what should have been a routine double play. And Brian Roberts be the first one to tell you that.
Here's Jorge Posada. Posada 9 for his last 19.
One of the hitting heroes for the Yankees on the road trip. Had a 4 RBI night in Tampa Bay. Scored the only run in the game that the Yankees won 1-0. In Toronto.
That's probably the best trip in terms of, if you want to call it karma, that the Yankees have had. I mean, they give up 10, they win 11-10. Then they win one that it seemed like every game was a one-run game, and they did just enough to be the team in the lead. That's the difference between a team fighting for a pennant and a team in the middle of the division. Those one-run ball games.
There's a strike.
Jorge looking down at Luis Sojo to see if anything's working here on the 2-1 count.
And the count 3-1.
Like most young lefties, when Bedard's control is a little shaky, he can walk a few, get himself in trouble. I saw Daniel Cabrera in the before the game around the batting cage. The Oriole, big, tall right-hander, throws upwards of 99 miles an hour, but he too has control problems from time to time that sets him back.
Change up, 3-2.
One of the best pitches in baseball in a hitter's count. If you can throw something off speed, and you see how this fools Jorge. Swings over it. I think Bedard's got a pretty deceptive move over there. I don't know if Hideki had the run sign on 3-1, but he bluffed back to first base, and right now you can see the Yankees aren't going to be able to get too big a lead on Bedard.
I think what he has, kid, is that step off move and then throw over the first. That's not it.
He's got a nice target there. You know, if nothing else, Walter can just get down there and smother it and block it, as big as he is.
Fouled away. First of 4 between the Yankees and the Orioles. Yankees a 7-game homestand. This is their final regular season homestand of the year. 4 against the Orioles and 3 against the Blue Jays. Then on the road, 4 against the Orioles again at Camden Yards, and then 3 against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. really making Bedard work.
His good hitting on the road. Michael mentioned the fact that Jorge went 9 for 19 on the road trip. From the right-hand side, Jorge's been a very good hitter this year. He's hitting over 300, batting right-handed. And the signs that he was really coming out, he started hitting the ball well left-handed on the road trip. And he's hitting just 243 lefty, but 301 is a right-handed hitter.
Just missed, so Posada wins that battle to work the walk. Nip Tuck, Golden Globe winner for breast drama and television's most provocative series, returns for its 3rd season with a special 90-minute premiere. See it tomorrow at 10 on Cablevision Channel 40 or Time Warner Channel 58. And keep it right here, because in the 6th inning, we'll have a special sneak peek at Nip Tuck.
Sounds like a pennant race. Close game.
This has been Nip and Tuck, yeah. Bernie's hitting .310 with runners in scoring position, .455 since August 14th.
That side shot, Kenny, Bernie actually looks like he's moved his hand position just a little bit. I don't remember him being that close into his face before that. The hands were back. I guess he starts with them there, but so you can get him back better.
You have to have that back. Start your bat back and then forward. Get some momentum.
Driven out to right field. Gibbons is there for the 2nd out of the inning. And here's Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano might want to look into staying in a hotel when he's in New York, just so he makes this like a road game. He is so good on the road and has been all year, and he just came off a great road trip.
The top hitter in the league in road games. Or maybe he should just wear his road uniform in home games. .332 on the road.
Count 1-0.
And the Yankees just coming off a road trip. He's hit 8 of his last 9 games.
Hit a little bit of a valley there before that hot stretch, and now he's up to 294 again. He had dipped into the 270s. Making a run for Rookie of the Year. He'll have to battle Houston Street, the closer for the A's. A couple of other very good rookies as well throughout baseball, but if you're on a team that's battling for a pennant like Street and Cano, you've got to be the guys that are considered. At Yankee Stadium, a 248 hitter. On the road, 332. And that adds up to 294. The 2-0. There's a strike and a count 2-1.
I think this at bat is an example of how he's improved again. It's a game of adjustments. When he first came up, boy, he got a lot of first pitches to hit, and he didn't wait long. Then the pitchers adjusted. They started throwing him a lot of slow stuff, and he chased it. Now you can see he's getting more patient, getting himself in better hitters count, and the average going back up again.
446 in September, which is the best in the American League. And the count 2-2.
Had all those hits on the road trip, but none bigger than the grand slam that he hit in Tampa Bay that tied the ball game when the Yankees were down 5-1. His first major league grand slam.
The 2-2. Chop toward third. Charging is Mora, but it rolls foul.
Now, I wonder if he's a player that, some players come out to the clubhouse early on the road, others take the bus. I don't know if he's a bus guy or not, but if he is, all the Yankees just, wherever he lives, just send a bus there. That'll kind of duplicate what it's like coming to the ballpark on the road.
And usually with rookies, it's the other way around. They're more comfortable at home. But he might be comfortable here, but the numbers are not a manifestation of that comfort. Swing and a miss. And Cano down on strikes. A fastball up and in. So Bedard works out of trouble. No runs, no hits, no errors. And 2 men left on base. We've played 2 here at the stadium. Baltimore 1, the Yankees nothing. You are watching. Yes. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Online DSL, now twice as fast as before. You remember who's starting for the Orioles, John Maine. He's 2-1 with a 3.27. And Aaron Small for the Yankees, 8-0 with a 3.28. Aaron Small's going so well that he was down 5-1 in the game that Kenny just referenced and ended up winning that one.
I like your historical references, Michael.
Thank you. Roberts fouls one off. Coors Light scoreboard has the Orioles leading the Yankees 1-0. We've mentioned that the Orioles were in first place for 62 games when Lee Mazzilli was managing. And then things fell apart. Injuries. And Roberts continues his hot hitting against the Yankees with a base hit. But in all fairness, and Sam Palazzo's a very nice guy, but when Lee Mazzilli was hired, he was hired to fail. They didn't allow him to take one coach. He couldn't hire one coach. The coaches that were given to him, a couple of them were actually up for the job, including Sam Palazzo and Rick Dempsey and Tom Trebelhorn, who was the third base coach under Mazzilli. And it's hard to win that way if you can't have one confidant on your staff. And it seemed like the owner didn't like the manager that was hired by the GMs. And Mazzilli ended up getting canned because of it. And now they're wondering who's going to be the manager next year.
They're wondering who's going to be the GMs, too.
Well, you see Castro taking a long look at Rick Dempsey, and here's the advantage of being able to execute that slug bunt. You'll have Alex charging at third, and Castro can shorten up and still slap it past him.
Of course, Roberts can steal as well.
Pitch was high, 1-0.
Reminds me of, one of the 3 Alou brothers, Matty. Matty Alou could do that. Vic Davalillo. His left-handers that shorten up on the bat, that automatically brings the third baseman in, and then they have the ability to kind of punch it that way, or as Michael said, Casey Stengel called that butcher boy.
Pitch out. He was not bunting then. The count 2-0. Yankees thought Roberts might be going.
Alex Rodriguez creeping in from third. Prior to every pitch, he's already on the grass, so that they're not looking for power right here. They're looking for a little ball out of the Orioles.
They're so worried about the bunt that they might put Castro on, and that moves Roberts to second anyway. So the count now 3-0. And he walks. Bernie Castro. Well, let's see if they bunt more. In all likelihood not. You don't usually use your number 3 hitter to bunt.
Third baseman, Melvin Morrow.
He bunts, the number 4 hitter won't be able to hit either. That's Tejada. They just put him on.
And there's a strike. Moore taking a long look down at Rick Dempsey. See if anything is on. Usually take that long a look. Something might be on.
I would think more with the count 1-0 as opposed to 0-1. Because then the pitcher's, he has to throw a strike.
How about that? He does bunt. And Wong will get Mora at first. And what Kenny said is going to come to play right now. Just walk Tejada.
Yeah, you don't know. He's credited with a sacrifice. You don't know if Mora did that on his own or not. That's the technique you'd use when you're bunting for a base hit.
You know what? I think the bunt was put on by the manager because the length of time that Mora looked at the sign is almost as if, huh?
Right.
So he gets the bunt down. He does what he's told.
Looks like the Yankees will pitch to Tejada and they'll keep the infield back, so they'll give up the run on the ground ball. Tejada salivates with RBIs on the bases. And there's the strike.
Now, last year Tejada led the league in runs batted in. Here's our Bacardi scouting report this year. He was the All-Star Game MVP, 48 double, leads Major League Baseball, and he also leads the Baltimore club in RBIs with 91.
Chop toward first. That'll get a run in. Giambi will beat Tejada to the bag, not exactly busting it down the line. Robert scores. Castro moves to third, and the Orioles lead 2-0.
It's a productive out, but the Yankees will take that trade with a guy that can get you 3 runs with 1 swing. And Wong makes a good pitch in the outside part of the plate. The Yankees with the infield back will trade the out for the run this early.
Here's Jay Gibbons, an RBI single right in the first inning. It's 2-0. Orioles leading the Yankees. And that one's tapped back to the mound. Wong will go to Giambi, and that'll do it. But the Orioles get a run on 1 hit, and they lead 1. We go to the bottom of the third. Baltimore 2 and the Yankees nothing.
看呢，3局下半呢，
And
洋基
Bubba
队的进
Crosby
攻。
leads off against Eric Bedard. Coors Light scoreboard, 2-0 Orioles. Ruben Sierra's rough night in right field yesterday, a rough day in right field, convinces Joe Torre to put in the lefty swinging Crosby against the lefty Bedard. And there's a ground ball knocked down by Walter Young. There'll be no play. That's a base hit for Bubba Crosby.
Well, it takes Walter a little time to get that frame underway. I think he was looking for a low hop, brought the glove up, knocked it down, no chance to make the play. It's one of those plays you say it certainly could have been made, whether you'd say it should have been made. It's a play you expect Tino Martinez or a top first baseman to make. And once he knocks it down with Bubba's speed, it's a base hit easy.
So Crosby, who could run, leads off first. Here's Derek Jeter. And Bedard keeps Crosby close. Crosby's a little bit smaller than Young. Jeter bunts. Could be a tough play for Bedard. Not in time. Bunt single for Derek Jeter.
Boy, and Walter Young actually made a pretty good play. I mean, Bedard was a little slow in making the pivot and getting rid of us. See, right there, it takes him a little while to turn. And Walter Young, he almost had to reach behind him to catch that ball. There's a look from the Fujifilm blimp. And you see Derek's foot hit the bag at the same time the ball hit Young's glove.
Well, the Yankees have runners on first and second, nobody out for Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez lined out to right field in the first inning. Ducks on the pond. Foul back.
You know, I think back to a quote from Terry Crowley, the Baltimore hitting coach, about the Yankees. You can see the foot down just before the ball got to the glove. And he said one reason why the Yankees win consistently is because they have more baseball players than the other teams.
Yeah.
And that's a play by a baseball player, that bunt by Derek Jeter. Players who know how to play baseball.
And the point Kenny's making is, you know, you look at the scoreboard, if you're Derek Jeter, you're down 2 runs. Teams that are 15 games out, they don't think in those terms most of the time. They're looking at individual stats. But with it's an update from Tampa Bay, Red Sox behind Boomer, up a couple of runs with all the thunder in the middle of the Yankee lineup. Derek just trying to set the table.
Count 2-1. Bedard working himself into big trouble.
A-Rod has 3 home runs his last 4 games.
.419 batter with runners in scoring position since August 20th. Overall .287. Good pitch on the inside corner, 2-2.
The other day we saw Ted Lilly come in there one time. The second time he tried to come in there, Alex was waiting for him.
Well, one of the big improvements, and you say, what does Alex Rodriguez have to improve? Because he's got such awesome career numbers, but he's gotten a couple of key hits this year on pitches low and away where he's just gone the other way with a base hit. And I think last year when he was trying to do a little too much, almost every swing was designed to, to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And he's more of a complete hitter this year than he was last year.
One year ago, .293, 10 less home runs than he has this season at .318. And he says he feels a lot more comfortable, as if he belongs. The rhythm of the city and the team. Fouls off the change.
If nothing else, I know the Yankees aren't on the board yet, but the last 2 innings, Eric Bedard has had to work very hard to get out of innings.
Yeah, he doesn't really pitch. I mean, he's not working like he's in control of the game. He's out there very, very deliberate and trying to nibble his way through the early innings here.
Yankees making Bedard work. .47 pitches, 28 strikes for the left-hander. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. Giambi's on deck. Strike 3 outside corner. A-Rod down looking.
Wow. He's going to take up that argument with Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire. Looked like Bedard maybe took something off. Watch the movement on this pitch. Well, Lopez framed it. It certainly wasn't too low. Alex obviously thought it was outside, just barely. But so far, the early indication that Wolf is giving a little bit on those side-to-side pitches.
Well, you did mention his brother Randy's a pitcher, but his brother's out with Tommy John surgery.
You know, when you see space between the plate and the ball, that's when you can't ask a hitter to hit those pitches. I mean, if it's borderline where you can barely see the difference between the ball and the plate, that's one thing. Fujifilm blimp pop shows the conference on the mound there with Giambi up. How they want to, what sign they're going to use and how they want to play him.
And Fujifilm is a proud sponsor of the Yes Network's Ultimate Road Trip. Great pictures from the blimp.
See, they won't use the shift now, so the same ball that Jason hit his first time at bat would be a base hit.
Trying to keep Crosby close.
See B.J. Surhoff in left field, Gibbons there. I mean, it's like watching a game in slow motion, but Bedard is a tough pitcher to play behind.
Did that get him? Yes, it did. It probably nicked the blousey part of his shirt, and the bases are loaded for Sheffield.
Nothing new for Ray Miller to look at. He's seen this from his pitchers all year, and there's the, yeah, you see it. Maybe the dirt that Jason's got on that jersey earned him a hit batsman there. Wearing that uniform nice and loose, and Jim Wolf obviously heard the sound down there, but making contact with the uniform.
Here's Sheffield now. He's a double play candidate because he can run well and he hits the ball hard. But he's also an RBI candidate. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bottom of the third, 2-0 O's. Foul back.
Yeah, and you can see what Gary's trying to do based on what you mentioned, Michael, to stay out of that double play. Looked like he was consciously there trying to hit the ball the other way.
Before the game, Gary said his power numbers are down. He can't really push off or push into that front leg. But well, he had a good road trip. A lot of singles on the road trip. Single would do the job.
And 9 for 23, all singles. Count 0-2. He said he can't swing as hard. He said it's not about stats now. I don't care how many home runs I have. I just want to get hits. Bubba Crosby's at third, Jeter's at second, and Giambi at first. Popped up into the upper deck over us, and the count still 0-2. Gary hurt his left thigh on a play in the outfield here at Yankee Stadium in the previous homestand, and he has been hobbled with it since. He missed 4 games, came back, and it really wasn't any better. He said if it wasn't this time of the year, he'd probably be on the DL. Bedard from the full windup, the 0-2. Breaking ball. Gary Sheffield turning into no more Garcia Parra. Obsessed with his batting gloves. And he was not ready at the plate.
I think that, and also the slow pace with which Bedard is working is making the Yankee hitters step out.
And that should be 2. There's 1, and there's 2. So Sheffield bangs into a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning, and the Yankees don't score. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 3 full here at the stadium on this Monday evening. The Orioles lead the Yankees 2-0. You are watching Yes. Robinson Cano, the second rookie in the last 40 years to have 5 RBIs in back-to-back games. Who was the other rookie? Lopez fouls it up. We will tell you the answer in the bottom of the 4th inning, but please feel free to guess amongst yourselves. 2-4-0. No, we won't.
No.
I've got no clue. But I think he turned out to be a pretty good hitter.
Count 0-2. Javi Lopez has not been a disappointment for the Orioles in terms of hitting. Now, he was on the DL for a while. Last year he had a good year hitting, but he is not a guy that's going to be behind the plate for a pennant-winning team. He's just not a great defender. And there on a changeup, he goes down on strikes. So the Orioles will probably be looking for a good defensive catcher during the offseason. Hey, Nip Tuck, the deeply superficial series returns. Watch season 3, the premiere tomorrow night at 10 on Cablevision Channel 40 or Time Warner Channel 58. And keep it right here, because in the 6th inning, we'll have a special sneak peek of Nip Tuck. Here's B.J. Surhoff. And Surhoff fouls it away. And the count 0-1.
Prior to the game, Gary Sheffield and B.J. Surhoff, who were teammates with Atlanta, were going back and forth. And, you know, B.J. walked on the field, so I'm glad there's somebody out here older than me. And Gary says, no way. And Gary said, you got a lot of nerve. You got gray in your beard.
You know, it's I think it's 3, maybe even 4 springs ago. I guess 3 springs ago, down in Jupiter, Florida. That pitch wasn't really that close, but BJ, I guess, a little close to the plate there. He came walking over to me in Jupiter. He said, when did you know? I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, what are you talking about? He said, when did you know it was time to get out? I said, I didn't. I would have stayed in. They made me get out. But I said, I think as long as you enjoy it, you ought to stay in. And he was considering getting out a few years ago. He's been a very versatile and durable player. He was the #1 of all the #1s in 1984 or 85 out of North Carolina.
Numbers retired down there at Chapel Hill. He can play left field, right field, first base. Was a catcher when he first came up. Third baseman.
Right here from the New York area.
Yeah.
He's from Rye. Devil Rays have fought back, putting 2 runs on the board against David Wells. 2-2 game, Red Sox and the Rays. Wells against Hendrickson. Ground ball right side, through for a base hit. So a 1-out single for Surhoff, who's 1 for 2. And that'll bring up Walter Young.
First baseman, Walter Young.
Told you that Young was listed in the Oriole Media Guide, which is printed obviously before spring training at 322. Now, to get an idea of how big he is, the heaviest Baltimore Raven is Orlando Brown. He's 360. So this is a big man.
So he could give Orlando Brown a tussle.
Maybe. There's a ground ball to second base. Let's see if they can turn 2. There's 1. And Brown beats it out. And there was rumbles all the way to Giant Stadium, where the Giants are beating the Saints right now.
Well, you can see the frustration in the face of Walter Young. Cano turns it nicely to Jeter. No chance to get 2. But as Terry Crowley, their hitting coach, said, and here's Walter out of the box. running as hard as he can. Terry Crowley said the fact he only hit 13 home runs this year, but he said, I like the fact that he's got quiet hands, and sometimes you expect too much of a young hitter that's that big. I think he's going to automatically hit 40 home runs. Well, Terry Crowley, of course, longtime teammate of Kenny's, longtime hitting coach, well respected, going all the way back to the days when he helped Jeff Bagwell develop, when Bagwell was still in the Red Sox minor league system.
Chopper back to the mound. A lot of assists for Wong today, and he puts him away for the final out of the inning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assists for Chien-Ming Wang. Plus no kiddies in the house. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left on base. Making a bid to take the Gold Glove Award away from Mike Messina. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0. Pitch to Matsui is grounded foul. It's amazing because every single one of these games means so much to the Yankees because of their proximity to the first place Red Sox and the Red Hot Indians in the wild card. But you have to be honest, and there's absolutely no electricity in this ballpark today, and maybe it's because of the slow pace of the game and the way Bedard's pitching, but nothing. No juice at all. Humpback line drive on one hop, one away. Time to take a look at that Aflac trivia question. Aflac. Robinson Cano, the second rookie in the last 40 years to have 5 ribbies in back-to-back games. Who was the other rookie? And the answer is Brian Dahlback.
Brian Dahlback. He was a decent hitter.
My guess was going to be my ex-teammate Tony Oliva, because Tony's the only player to lead the league in hitting his first 2 years, his rookie year and his second year. So I thought he might have had one of those games. And Brian Dahlback, one of those late blooming rookies, spent a lot of time in the minor leagues as a catcher.
August 13th and 14th of '99 against Seattle. 11 RBIs total. And the pitch is a strike to Posada. Count 0-1. Posada walked in the second inning. 2-0 Orioles. Pitch upstairs, 1-1.
You mentioned the juice in the crowd, and I think it's just a matter right now of fans sitting on their hands, because like you said, the Yankees, they had the bases loaded, but they haven't really mounted too much of a threat, and they get a few runners on here in the middle innings. That'll change in a hurry.
And they're facing a pitcher tonight in Bedard who hasn't won since August the 9th. Beat Tampa Bay at Camden Yards.
.93-mile-an-hour fastball. Got it by Posada. The count 2-2.
Since then, he's had 3 losses and 3 no decisions.
The 2-2. Foul back.
Yeah, and he's got a little, he's in addition to the miles per hour, there's some deception with that fastball. You see the very, very deliberate motion. And when you look at most of the foul balls, Devil Rays now taking a 2-run lead. Most of the foul balls the right-hand hitters have hit, they've been late on.
Two. Late again. One thing I saw in that Devil Rays score, they've got 9 hits already in that game, so they're getting their hits off Boomer.
Bernie Williams just 5 hits away from Joe DiMaggio. Bernie was leaving the clubhouse today, and he was stopped by somebody from the Yankee front office who was bringing down a bottle of champagne with a note attached to it. And Bernie said, "What's this for?" He goes, "Well, Mr. Steinbrenner had sent it the previous homestand, but we never got a chance to bring it down, congratulating you for getting, for moving up on the Yankee all-time list." And Bernie said, "What list? Who did I move past?" And then I said, "Well, you moved past Mattingly. You have 5 more to DiMaggio." He goes, "Really?"
Yeah, plenty of time to look back on those records when your career's over.
The 2-2. Grounded to third. Mora backhand sets. And there are 2 down here in the 4th.
Again, it's the 3rd left-hander we've seen in recent times. It was Casey Fossum and then Mark Hendrickson for Tampa Bay. There's the career leaders with Bernie 5 behind Joe D. That's already awfully select company right there with all the Hall of Famers. Yeah, the 3 left-handers I mentioned, Fossum and Mark Hendrickson and maybe Ted Lilly in Toronto. 3 left-handers, fastball, curveball, changeup.
Driven out to right field. Jay Gibbons is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. So the Yankees go down in order here in the 4th. We go to the 5th. It's the Orioles 2, the Yankees nothing. You're watching Yankees baseball on Yes. Thank you, Bob. As we go to the top of the 5th inning here at the stadium, it's 2-0 Orioles. It's amazing. The Indians just don't lose, and the White Sox just don't win. Here's Brian Roberts against Chien-Ming Wang. Grounded to first. Giambi's there, steps on the bag. 1 away. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Boy, he is, you mentioned all the assists that Wang has, and he is getting a ton of ground ball outs. Just a few pitches back there in the first inning that he left in a bad zone. What a great shot you see on the Chevy scoreboard. 2-zip Orioles.
There has not been an outfield putout recorded.
Here's Bernie Castro. Count 1-0. He's had 11 groundouts and 2 strikeouts.
Scouting report said infielders on alert.
2-5-0 O's, 0-2-0 for the Yankees. Top of the 5th inning. Count 2-0. There's a strike.
Orioles are looking for outfielders in the upcoming off season, and they actually use Castro in the outfield. He's a second baseman by trade, and felt just as long as he can catch the ball, get it back in, they might as well give him a chance. He overran a ball yesterday, though.
I don't know if we pointed out at the start of the game that Castro was in the Yankee organization early in his career. Played in Staten Island.
Strike 3. Castro down looking. 3rd strikeout for Wang. Every time a Yankees pitcher strikes out an opposing batter, the Tri-State Hyundai dealers help strike out kids' cancer by making a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund and the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian. Now, if you'd like to contribute along with the Tri-State Hyundai dealers, call 212-305-1420 and let's strike out children's cancer. There's Mel Moore. And there's a strike.
Boy, and he's throwing harder than, this is his third start back off the DL, and I think his fastball tonight, if the readings are right, this is as hard as he's thrown in quite some time.
That was a borderline pitch that last one. Melvin got the call, 2 balls and a strike. I think when you watch Wong pitch, and first of all, as a hitter, you have to get used to his windup because he has that delay, and you have to keep yourself from getting out there too quick. There's that. You're thinking baseball. Where is it?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of his effectiveness because you can see the hitter. Hitters will waggle the bat and they'll move a little. They try to get in the rhythm of the pitcher, and Wong just kind of freezes him when he gets at the top of his motion.
Dribbled slowly in front of the plate. It rolls fair, and Mora didn't run, and he is gunned down. And now Mora is arguing with the home plate umpire. I don't know what he could be arguing about other than that the ball touched Mora. That's what Sammy Perlazo might be saying. Let's take a look. Nope. And it rolls on the line. Fair ball. And Mora's out. Good call by Jim Wolf. And no hustle by Melvin Mora.
Good play by Posada as well.
After 4.5, we're halfway through. 2-0 O's. They're all heading to the Bronx over the George Washington Bridge. A lot of them in Chevys. The Chevy scoreboard 2-0 over the Orioles, or the Orioles over the Yankees as we head to the bottom of the 5th. And the pitch to Robinson Cano, a little bit low, 1-0. There's some sports action on the other side of that bridge, too, as the Giants are playing the Saints at Giants Stadium. Last we heard, Giants up 14-7 in the second quarter. That one's fouled back, and the count 1-1. Let's take another look at that play by Posada.
Well, Mora didn't run, but Posada waited him out. You could see the ball had overspin on it. It just spun right back onto the line. And good job by Jorge just to wait it out. And Mora's just, pleading to trying to get to go to another court, but he's out of there. Called out by the home plate umpire, Jim Wolf. On the throw to first base.
1-1 to Cano. Breaking ball strike, and the count 1-2.
Good curveball. I mentioned last inning that there's a look over at the Meadowlands where they're playing a different kind of ball. Third left-hander there, maybe the fourth that I can remember in the last couple of weeks that's been pretty effective with fastball, curve, and change, no slider.
Slice past the diving Moore and into left field. Cano really has that left field stroke down of late. He picks up a leadoff single here in the 5th.
Well, he's now hit 9 of his last 10 games. Let's see, tried to sneak a fastball by him, but he wouldn't have it. Look at the head down, following a ball right to contact, and boom, on into left field for a base hit.
Probably see Bubba Crosby do exactly what Derek Jeter did his last at bat. With Walter Young not too fleet of foot down there, just drag a bunt toward first base.
And he does. Bedard off the mound, and he has no play. Young wandered too far off first. A base hit for Bubba Crosby.
Well, a couple of things might have had Bubba thinking this way. He's got a left-hander on the mound who's going to fall off to the third base side. And then you got Walter Young who's doing whether should I stay or should I go? And that was a song years ago. You can see Walter Young going, and then all of a sudden Brian Roberts can't get over quickly enough because he was playing a double play depth.
Yeah, unfortunately for Walter, he didn't do one or the other. He just did kind of halfway in between, and no play for the Orioles, and a good execution by Bubba Crosby.
Here's Derek Jeter.
Might be time for another bunt.
And he does square, but takes it low, 1-0.
Once they find out you're not real agile, and we talk about Walter Young at almost 300 pounds, I mean, that ball will find you. They'll keep pushing it that way till you show them you can make plays. Especially with the thunder the Yankees have in the middle of their lineup.
I forgot what football coach he said. I like my players agile, mobile, and hostile.
I think that was Eddie Robinson with Grambling.
Well, the Baltimore infield's expecting a bunt.
Jeter wants to have Mora field it, so then the runners would move up. Takes a strike. Jeter thought it was low. Long look down at Luis Sojo. Such a long look, you wonder if they took it off. And has Jeter swinging away, does Joe Torre. Let's see. And he was. The ball gets away, but the runners stay.
That ball gets away going in the opposite direction towards the first base dugout. I think you would have seen Cano taken off. It would have made for a longer throw for Javi Lopez. Instead, the ball will come off towards the third base side. Not a very good reception.
Ooh, boy.
He kind of pushed that ball away from him.
Popped up, foul. Right side makes the seats and the count 2-2.
Yeah, he came in with a 2-1 changeup, and one of these times the Yankee hitter is going to guess right on it when he's ahead on the count, and Bedard has thrown that changeup quite a few times when he's been behind in the count. The changeup is a touch pitch, but a lot of times the pitchers rely on the off-speed nature of the pitch to get the hitters out in front. It's not so much the location, and sometimes if you guess right on a high changeup, they can be hit a long way.
The 2-2. Driven into right field. It's a base hit in front of Gibbons. Cano will stop at third. And the throw comes into Lopez at the third baseline. So the Yankees, with 3 straight singles, have the bases loaded and nobody out.
Nice hitting by Derek Jeter. Looked like he got a breaking ball, but it was a flat one, similar to the pitch to Robinson Cano. Robinson's was a fastball, but belt high on the outside half. And that's Derek Jeter's signature hit. A base hit to right field.
'56 multi-hit games for Derek Jeter. He only trails Michael Young of Texas, who has 61.
Well, the Yankees are set up. Bases loaded, nobody out for Alex Rodriguez. Cano's at third. Bubba Crosby at second. Derek Jeter at first. There's great speed on the bases for the Yankees, especially at first and second. Alex has 11 career grand slams, a .308 batting average with the bases loaded. Let's go back to April 26th against Bartolo Colon. And he went up against the facing of the black to pick up his 11th grand slam. Yankee crowd starting to come alive here in the bottom of the 5th. And there's a strike. Count 1-1.
Yeah, the advantage this time around for the Yankees is Bedard's done a good job. Obviously, no runs and 5 hits, but I mean, he has had to throw almost every Yankee hitter, every pitch he has. So it stands to reason that third time through the order, the hitter's going to have a little bit better idea of what to expect.
So far, the first 2 pitches they tried to get in on Alex Rodriguez.
Line drive, past the diving Tejada and into left field. Cano scores. The other runners move up. An RBI single for Alex Rodriguez, and the Oriole lead is 2-1.
Well, Kenny, you mentioned fooling a hitter on a changeup, and that's what Bedard tried to do here. But it wasn't in a good enough spot. Fastball inside corner. That one low and in. And there's the change, and that's the big improvement this year in Alex Rodriguez. He's done that a lot, taking some off-speed pitches down in the strike zone and just getting base hits with them.
The runners, of course, could only advance 1 base apiece because it looked like Miguel Tejada might have had a chance to come up with that line drive. So the bases remain loaded.
Now Ray Miller goes out to talk with Eric Bedard as Jason Giambi awaits.
Eric
Dubose warming. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. Here's Giambi with the bases loaded. Still nobody out for the Yankees in the bottom of the 5th. They pulled to within 2-1. Giambi grounded to second, then was hit by a pitch. Lefty against lefty. Bedard deals. Breaking balls away, 1-0. Again a breaking ball, and again away. The count 2-0.
Boy, hitter's delight right here, isn't it, Kenny? You've seen 2 breaking balls and the bases loaded. You say, well, he's got to throw a fastball for a strike. It's just a question of being patient enough and getting it in the zone you like.
The 2-0. There's a strike.
Jason thought that might have been low. It wasn't in the spot that he wanted. Certainly he wants something up a little bit more towards the middle. You can see the target was in. The pitch was low and away, but Javi Lopez did a decent job of framing that one, and Jim Wolf called it a strike.
Another strike, and the count 2-2.
This one looked more hittable than the previous pitch.
That ball's got it looks like it has a little sail to it almost, because you see where Lopez is set up, and the ball actually went to the outside part of the plate. Jason, who was still ahead in the count, looking for something inside.
Giambi with 1 RBI in his last 5 games. The 2-2. He struck him out. He expanded the strike zone. He was 2-0, 2 tight pitches to 2-2, and then struck him out.
And here is the sequence. Curveball misses and then another one. And now he's in a position where he has to throw his fastball, but that one's in a perfect spot, knee-high outside corner. I think that one Jason just got frozen on. And again, they want it inside, and that ball, like it sailed. I mean, by the time, watch Lopez's glove. By the time he catches this, he's almost outside the strike zone.
I thought he was outside the strike zone.
So Giambi goes down swinging, and here's Sheffield. Wrapped into a double play his last time up and walked his first time up. Chopped slowly toward third. Mora has one play at first. Crosby scores. The other runners move up, and the game is tied at 2.
Well, because of the leg injury, you can see Gary Sheffield just cannot run any harder than he is. Otherwise, he probably would have had an infield hit on this. Mora plays it nicely.
And you know, every third baseman in the league plays back when Sheffield comes up, so that was another opportunity for him to beat it out with the normal leg speed.
So 2 down, runners on second and third with 2 outs. And here's Matsui. He's 0 for 2. And the Yankees see up on the scoreboard in the 4th inning. The Red Sox have now tied the Devil Rays at 4. Four 4-0, beating or tying 4-10-1. Game at Tropicana Field. The 1-0 popped up and out of play.
Matsui, who has a career high 110 runs batted in. That includes games in Japan and here in the major leagues in the United States with the Yankees. His previous high here in the major leagues had been 108.
And the 1-1. Count 2-1.
The one thing you watch Matsui and how he's always on balance, and you watch his footwork at home plate, how he kind of does this little tap step with his front foot and tries to keep himself on balance. Very rarely do you see him take one of those wild swings. See his footwork trying to get up on the toes.
The 2-1. Fouled back in the count 2-2.
Don't see him show much emotion, but that's the second, and I think it's an indication of the sneakiness of Bedard's fastball. That's the second time we've seen Hideki have a pitch where he thought he could have handled it, and he just missed it, fouled it back. Like Kenny mentioned, his strength as a clutch hitter is that he takes the same approach every at bat. He could be leading off a game, or it could be the last inning of the World Series. He has the ability to just approach every at bat the same.
The 2-2 outside. 3-2. Jorge Posada is on deck. Runners stay put. Jeter's at third. A-Rod's at second. A 3-2 count and 2 outs. Bedard is painfully slow. This will be his 91st pitch of the night. And the 3-2. He struck him out. Elevated the fastball, and Matsui swings through. All things considered, not awful for Bedard, but the Yankees tie the score. 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 men left. 5 done at the stadium. It's a 2-2 game. 16th ribby against the Yankees this year. Bubba Crosby in a start against the left-hander, 2 for 2 with 2 singles. And in September, he's 10 for 27, and that's a .370 batting average. Chien-Ming Wang's done a nice job. Ran into some trouble in the first and the third, but he's got a lot of ground balls, no fly balls, and now the game is tied. Miguel Tejada leads off the 6th. Pitches upstairs, 1-0.
Tejada actually spent a game as a designated hitter. In fact, 2 games. Now, he's got a long consecutive game streak going. But he has felt the need to be the DH once. And I was talking to Sammy Palazzo. The first time he DH'd him, he said he was awful. He just had no clue how to do it. The second time he did get a hit. And there was one other day he asked to be the DH, and then he changed his mind.
Ground ball up the middle and past Jeter into center field. The leadoff single for Tejada, who is 2 for 3. Hey, Yankee fans, be sure to enter the Continental Airlines round trip or sweepstakes. If a Yankees player hits a home run in Wednesday's game, you could win a complimentary pair of round trip tickets on Continental Airlines. All you have to do is log on to YesNetwork.com, look for the Continental logo, and predict who will be the first Yankees player to hit a home run during Wednesday's game. There's Jay Gibbons. Now it's up to Wang to keep the Orioles off the board after his team just tied the score. They chase Tejada back. Gibbons with an RBI single in the first. Tom Gordon begins his stretching exercises. Nice save there by Posada. The count 1-0. Along with Jim Cott and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. We thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. And the totals are all even, 2-6-0 for the Orioles and the Yankees as we are in the 6th inning here at the stadium. First game of a 4-game set. And the first game of 8 games between these two teams over the final 2 weeks. Fouled away. The Yankees will play 4 against the Orioles, then 3 against the Blue Jays, and that will end their regular season slate here at Yankee Stadium. Then they take to the road, 4 games against Baltimore. Now on your original schedule, Monday's an off day, but remember the Yankees and the O's got rained out in an earlier series at Camden Yards, so Monday is a game, 4 games, and then 3 games against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. And the way it's going right now, that last weekend could mean everything. Pitch is low. And the count 2-1.
Wong's ability to throw the ground ball or have hitters top his sinking fastball. Situations like this where you have the leadoff man on, it really comes into play because he's been able to get quite a few double plays behind him.
That got Posada.
Yeah, I don't think there's still been an made to the outfield, right? Everything's a strikeout or a ground ball, and even Tejada's base hit was a ground ball.
Doesn't look like it got Posada on the left shoulder. That can't be fun.
The 2-2. Chop towards short. They get one. They don't get the other. Boy, that would have been some double play if they have turned that, but the ball was just hit too softly by Gibbons. 1 out.
Yeah, Jeter and Cano do their part. You see Derek give him that little soft flip, and then Cano tried to unload the ball with Tejada bearing down on him, but it just wasn't hit quite hard enough to turn 2. They made it close. You could see Gibbons' foot just hit the bag before Giambi came up with the ball.
There's a hustle to try and avoid the double play. And Gibbons by a half a step.
Pitch to Lopez is outside, 1-0.
You mentioned all the games between the Orioles and the Yankees, and then the Red Sox and Orioles, and it's always been sort of courtesy or customary. The manager, when you're playing these contending teams, you play your regulars. You know, not many of the guys that get called up from the minor leagues. And I've always found that from a pitcher standpoint, that might be an advantage.
Driven into center field. Bernie Williams is there. Gibbons really reigns too far from first, but hustles back. Flying high above Yankee Stadium tonight is the Fujifilm blimp, bringing us these great pictures. Fujifilm is a proud sponsor of the New York Yankees and the presenting sponsor of the New York Yankees Stadium Tour.
The reason I mention that is you get the young kids that get called up late in the year. Boy, they're full of enthusiasm. They're not intimidated. They don't know what you're throwing, and they come up and they can be tougher than the veteran players this time of the year.
Here's B.J. Surhoff. Incidentally, that fly ball to Bernie, the first fly out for the Orioles in this game.
Well, 3 of the Baltimore veterans are not with the team. Rafael Palmeiro's not with the team. Sammy Sosa's on the DL and supposedly down in Miami at his home. And Sidney Ponson was released. Well, their opening day starter. So a lot of fluctuation on the roster of the Baltimore team, and veteran players not around.
I'll tell you what, when I saw Rafael Palmeiro, who came back from the steroid suspension, put earplugs in his ears for a game at Rogers Center, I had a feeling he wasn't going to be playing at Yankee Stadium.
Or Fenway Park. And it was becoming too much of a distraction for the rest of the team, and he's rehabbing some injuries at home in Texas.
What, a bruised ego?
I don't know so much that, but you know, one of the clues was that when he came to Texas, when the Orioles were in Texas recently, he lives a half hour from the ballpark. Didn't come to see his teammates. So
they're saying he might be back for the final home series of the year. That remains to be seen. The 1-2. Grounded foul. As for Sosa, he just had an awful season, and his contract's up at the end of this year, and you wonder, is there going to be a team out there that will sign him? There's some whispers about maybe he'll have to go to Japan if he wants to continue to play.
Well, Sammy's on a disabled list with a foot problem.
The 1-2 upstairs, 2-2. Boy, he is throwing hard today. This is his best velocity since coming up the DL. Tampa Bay's now taking a 5-4 lead over the Red Sox in the 5th inning at the Trop, and Cleveland leads the White Sox 3-0 in the 3rd. If the White Sox end up relinquishing that lead, that will be the biggest collapse in baseball history. They would have squandered a 15-game lead that they held on August 1st. Right now it's 3.5. So with a 3-2 count and 2 outs, Jay Gibbons will take off from first. Jason Giambi plays behind him for the lefty swinging Surhoff. Runner goes, swung on it, missed, he got him for the final out of the 6th. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base at the end of 5.5 innings of play. It's the Yankees 2 and the Orioles 2, and as promised earlier, it's now time for a sneak peek of FX's Nip Tuck. Because for each home run a Yankees player hits at Yankee Stadium, Circuit City will donate $1,000 to Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation as part of Samsung's 4 Seasons of Hope. For more information, please visit fourseasonsofhope.com and the updated home run tracker at yesnetwork.com. Jorge Posada will lead it off against Bedard. Bedard's thrown 91 pitches through 5. And the pitch is low, 1-0.
Sorry, I was a little late getting back. I just had to call my grandson, tell him he could turn the TV back on.
Good move. The 1-0.
You know, we were talking about the pitchers with curve, change, fastball. And the reason I brought that up, I was having a good time, as I always do, talking with Al Leiter in the Yankee dugout before the game. Al and I did a show with our friend Tim McCarver a couple weeks ago about the danger of the slider. You know, it's such a, if you don't throw it in the right spot, it's such a hittable pitch. And we were looking at the scoreboard. They were playing Ron Guidry's Yankeeography, and Al was saying everybody ought to get a hold of Sparky Lyle and scold them for showing Guidry and those guys how to throw that hard slider, because that's where everybody thought it was. You know, there were very few that could throw it like those two guys.
Maybe Steve Carlton and, and Guidry.
So Bedard walks Posada. 1 on, nobody out. And here's Bernie Williams looking down at Luis Sojo.
Well, while we were amending some things that we said, I think that Palmeiro actually did watch a game in that series from a suite. I'm not so sure he went down to the clubhouse, though, to be with his teammates. He watched one of the games of the series from a suite in Texas.
Well, the last 5 pitches, that should give Sam Perlaza, Ray Miller an indication that Bedard, now he's checking out. Maybe he's got a blister or something. But that many pitches in 5 innings, and he has spent some time on the disabled list, and he hasn't come close with any of the first 5.
Aaron Rakers, the right-hander, is warming for the Orioles. And Ray Miller goes out. Isn't Ray Miller the pitching coach that always said the one thing he teaches his pitchers: work quickly, throw strikes, change speeds?
It's not that he doesn't teach it.
They're not listening.
Yeah, we were talking before the game about that dangerous low and in pitch, and I said, you know, you've been around a long time, and isn't it shocking to see that go on? He said, I butt heads with my catchers all the time, you know, talking about that, and with pitchers too. So, you know, coaches often, you know, when things are going bad, they get too much blame. Things are going well, maybe they get too much credit. All a coach can do is make suggestions. And if a player does not take it upon themselves to follow the advice, especially a guy like this who's going back, had success. Remember the ex-Yankee Doug Drabek went to Pittsburgh, became a 20-game winner. Wasn't a hard thrower, as you said, throw strikes, work fast, change speeds.
You guys are talking about Ray Miller's credo. The Oriole pitchers back in the late 70s and early 80s used to wear T-shirts with that printed out.
I don't think Bedard's got one of those.
Those things are long. They got holes in them now.
Yeah. He's got one. It's inside out.
It's a long time ago.
And there's a strike. DuBose now joins Rockers in the bullpen. The combination of Bernie Williams and Bedard is not conducive to a quick at bat anyway.
Bernie can grind them out with the best of them.
That must be a pitch just to give the pitchers more time to warm up. I mean, certainly don't think Posada's going to steal second base.
He's done it once this year.
Is that the back end of a double steal?
Might have been.
Grounded softly, third base side. Going to be a tough play. Bedard fires to first, they get him. That's a pretty good play by Bedard as Posada moves to second.
Boy, is it ever. I mean, that's, you see Dave Cash, one of the Oriole coaches, appreciate that. I mean, that gives you an example of Bedard's arm. Granted, Bernie doesn't run like he did when he was younger, but this is near the line. Ball's dead. He has to pick it up barehanded and throws a bullet to Walter Young.
Bedard was the only Oriole who had a chance to make the play. And that is impressive.
Pitches outside to Cano, the count 1-0.
I would say all of the arms in the outfield are kind of average. Maybe Matos a little above, but that includes Surhoff in left and Gibbons in right.
Line drive to right field. It stayed up there for Gibbons, who fires to second, and Posada just got back. That's a nice play by Jay Gibbons. That ball was just hit too hard.
Boy, he smoked it. Like he caught a high breaking ball, and Posada, who started to head toward third, just gets back in time.
You know, one thing that some right fielders at Yankee Stadium are told to do is play either medium or kind of shallow right field, because if the ball's hit in the air, high in the air, it's going to go in the seats anyway. It hit pretty well, and it looks to me Gibbons is maybe a little bit deeper than he was when Cano was at the plate. And with a runner at second, maybe you give yourself a better chance to throw somebody out at the plate. But, you know, if the line drive is either 10 feet left of him or 10 feet right, he's not going to make the play. It's going to be in there for an extra base hit.
Matos plays a fairly shallow center field. And Surhoff shallow and left for the lefty swinging Crosby.
Yeah, from that blimp shot, it looks like maybe they've had to resod that area in right field a little bit, because that's the spot where just about everybody plays. You can see it right there around Jay Gibbons. That's where almost everyone starts, whether you're a power hitter or something. There's only so much room out there.
Count 1-2. Go ahead run at second base in the person of Jorge Posada. Pretty decent arms all around in the outfield for the Orioles, so a base hit does not guarantee Posada would score. The 1-2. Lofted to left field. Surhoff is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So the leadoff walk does not haunt Eric Bedard. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left on base. We go to the seventh inning at the stadium. Orioles 2 and the Yankees 2. Hey fans, get a second chance to see the latest game with WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore only on Yes. Tune in every night or the next morning at 9 for the big hits and great plays another time around. Don't miss WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore only on Yes. Seventh inning here at the stadium. And on the IO Digital Cable scoreboard, it's 2-2. 2-6-0 to 2-6-0. Walter Young against Chien-Ming Wang. Grounded foul.
I'll say one thing. Walter came to the stadium today to swing the bat. He hadn't taken a pitch yet. He's seen 3 pitches, I believe, 2 ground outs and a foul ball. And you see his season numbers. You see the quiet hands he's got. That's what Terry Crowley, their hitting coach, likes. And Kenny made a good point between innings I talked about Young only hitting 13 home runs this year. Sometimes numbers in the minor leagues can be deceptive. You look at where players play. Some are pitchers' parks, pitchers' leagues. Others are hitters.
Another assist for Chien-Ming Wang. He's trying to pull an outside pitch.
Yeah, that's 3 ground ball outs. Years ago, you'd look at guys that put up numbers down in the Texas League, like down at Midland, Texas, where the ball flies forever. In the International League, where you play in some northern cities, a little cooler weather, those were always known more as pitchers' leagues.
And the ballpark in Ottawa, well, you figure it's kind of cold in April up there.
And June.
And from what I heard, it's not a very good hitting ballpark.
There's Luis Matos. Chien-Ming Wang guns him down.
Man, they don't learn, do they? They keep trying him out. He might be close to some kind of record for pitchers for assists.
Well, that's his 7th, and the major league record's 11.
Really? 11? Wow. I mean, this is a good play.
No, 7 come 11.
You don't look how low he stays to the ground and then throws from that position underneath. That's the kind of play you'd expect to see Mariano Rivera make, and Wang plays it perfectly.
National League, Rip Sewell had 11 in a 9-inning game back in 1941. And in the American League, Al Orth of the Yankees in 1906. Ed Walsh did it. A lot of people did it in the American League 11 times.
1906.
Yeah, but way back. I don't think in modern times, back when they were using those 50-ounce bats and soft balls or whatever, they got a lot of them tapped back to the pitcher.
They probably used the same ball that whole game.
Right.
The 0-1. Slice foul.
Well, you remember years ago in the minor leagues, if kids stood outside the stadium and they caught a foul ball, balls were, they wanted to say they bring it to the gate and they'd get in for free, and then they put the ball back in play.
That's where recycling started.
Foul back. Brian Roberts 1 for 3 against Wang. Wang's trying to make it tough for Joe Torre. Sean Chacon did with his great outing on Saturday. If Mike Messina and Jarrett Wright are healthy, one of those two has to go into the bullpen. Chacon or Wang. Well, Wang's making his statement here that he doesn't want to go. And the 0-2. 1-2.
And the impressive thing tonight, we've mentioned it several times, but even here in the 7th inning, granted his pitch count is low, but his velocity, if anything, is better than it was in the early part of the ball game.
The 1-2 upstairs. 95 miles an hour with that pitch here in the 7th inning. Bernie Castro's on deck. 60 strikes out of 88 pitches, an outstanding strike-to-ball ratio. Give it another try. 8 assists for Chien-Ming Wang. And that's a major league record. 3 assists in 1 inning as the Orioles go down in order 1-2-3 at the end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. Yankees 2 and the Orioles 2. While your standing remains so as we honor America here in the Bronx and listen to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Mr. Bob Shepard. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at Yankee Stadium. A new pitcher for the Orioles. It's Aaron Rockers. On the IO Digital Cable scoreboard, 2-6-0 Orioles, 2-6-0 for the Yankees.
That's some shot, isn't it? That right there is where that Titleist landed. I think it's still there.
Well, it's time for the AIG call to the bullpen by Sam Palazzo. AIG, insurance, loans, retirement. So Rockers will face Derek Jeter as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And the pitch by Rockers is a strike.
Good fastball. Hey, you see what he's done so far. Pretty impressive. 7 1/3, no walks, and 8 strikeouts.
Chris Gomez, new first baseman, takes over for Walter Young. Dribbled slowly third base side, but foul.
How much it helps, I don't know, because the hitter still has to face the pitcher and see him up close and personal. But, you know, years ago when a guy like this came up, you just say, hey, you know this guy you heard about? Well, I don't know. I heard he had a fastball. Nowadays, they've got all the, Don Mattingly has all the information ahead of time, so at least the hitters know a little bit of what to expect from Rockers.
I wonder if he's going to tell the Yankee hitters that he had 92 strikeouts in 77 innings in AAA.
Swing and a miss. Jeter down on strikes.
Well, again, that's a great pitching sequence right there. But that when you're playing a team like the Orioles, if you get ahead of them early, you don't have to look at guys like this. That was either a splitter or a curveball. But I mean, for 2 strikes, that almost broke like a splitter.
Jeter, 2 strikeouts and 2 singles today. Here's Alex Rodriguez, drove in a run in the 5th of the Yankees' first run. Sheffield drove in the other with a ground ball. Pitch is outside, 1-0.
Rockers was second among International League relievers in strikeouts, 92 strikeouts. That's impressive.
A-Rod's RBI in the 5th is 119th of the season. Ground ball at third. Mora with a big hop, a long throw. 2 down.
Pitcher's doing a good job tonight of keeping the infielders on their toes. A lot of ground ball outs. Chien-Ming Wang for the Yankees, 8 assists tonight.
Here's Giambi. Count 1-0 along with Jim Cott and Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. It's a 2-2 game in the bottom of the 7th.
See that dead spot out here, and Oriole coach Dave Cash, with 2 out in a tie game, was just telling all the outfielders, get back and prevent the extra base hit. Try to keep Jason Giambi, if he does get a hit, try to keep it from being a double.
Dave Cash has a distinction that no other major league player will ever have. He had the first hit ever at Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
Really?
Yeah. When the Expos signed him as a free agent. In fact, that winter, the Expos really wanted to sign Reggie Jackson after the '76 season, but they offered more money to Reggie than the Yankees did. But Reggie, of course, came to the Yankees, and the Expos put their money into Dave Cash, who was a good, solid second baseman in his day, and they gave him a lot of money, which is just as good as cash. And He signed with the Expos and got the first ever hit. The Expos had moved into Olympic Stadium following the '76 season. They had played there previously at Jarry Park.
And Giambi walks. 2-out walk by Rockers, and that'll bring up Sheffield. Sheffield walked, wrapped into a 6-4-3 double play, and hit a slow ground ball at third, where if he had not been hobbled by the bad thigh, would have beaten out, but he did pick up an RBI. Tampa Bay leads Boston 7-4, and that's in the 6th inning. Cleveland leads the White Sox 3-0, and that's in the 5th inning. Count 2-0.
I think we've seen Joe Torre do this before. Jason Giambi at first with 2 out, no pinch runner. But I think if he gets to scoring position, then you may see Joe go to the bench. Joe Girardi might be telling somebody right now, get ready to run, because then a base hit would give you the lead run.
It's usually Tony Womack.
Probably up getting his running shoes on.
And Rockers has lost the strike zone. Joe's getting his running in to go find the pinch runner. Matsui's on deck. It's a 2-2 game. And Giambi found his man. Green light, Sheffield takes a strike.
Hold out.
Driven into left center field. That's going to dunk in for a base hit. Ball is bobbled by Surhoff, but Giambi stays right there. So a base hit for Sheffield. Yankees have runners on first and second. They've located Matt Lawton. Let's see if they send Lawton out to pinch run for Giambi. And they will. So Giambi's night is done, and so is the night of Aaron Rockers, as Sam Palazzo will match up the left-hander against the left-hander Matsui. So the Yankees have the go-ahead run at second base in the person of Matt Lawton. Jason Giambi will watch the rest of the game from the bench. You will watch the rest of the game from your living room. So settle in. It's a 2-2 game. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. First and second, 2 outs. All fans in attendance will receive a 2005 commemorative pin, and you're not going to want to miss the Daily News pitch for $1 million before the game. Be a part of this exciting day at the stadium. Eric DuBose, the left-hander, will face Hideki Matsui.
See by the numbers, he's got some control issues, 13 walks.
He's not a hard thrower. He was at one time before arm surgery kind of robbed him of his fastball. He had been in the Orioles starting rotation for a while.
Pitches outside, 1-0. Yankees trying to snap a 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lawton's on second. Pinch running for Giambi. Sheffield's at first. Count 1-1.
So far, Decky has had just one of those just miss nights. He's had a couple good swings. There was another one. DeBose didn't throw that where he wanted to. Check out Lopez's target. And he left it in the middle of the plate.
If that's the case, you're having a just miss night. You're also hoping to have just one night.
Yeah.
And you get it at the right time.
Matsui 0 for 3 tonight. Grounded to second, grounded to first, and struck out. Took a lot off that breaking ball. And the count 2-1. Now that was a change. Boy, he really slowed down his arm angle. That was not a good change. His arm speed. And the count 3-1.
Eric DeBose, former #1 pick of the Oakland Athletics out of, I think you said Mississippi State when he was a hard thrower. But you're right, he doesn't throw too hard. He's thrown 2 of the slowest pitches of the night. And you don't often throw changeups, left-hand pitcher to left-hand hitter, because they leave it inside. It's a pretty hittable pitch.
Three-1. 3-2.
Well, at least the full count is a bit of a plus for Gary Sheffield, because with that bad leg, with a ball hit to one of the infielders, they could get him at second base fairly easy. But now he's going to get a running start.
Runners go. He struck him out. Slow, slower, and slowest, and they finally get Matsui stranding the go-ahead run at second. No runs a hit. 2 men left. Let's go to the 8th. It's a 2-2 game. Go to the 8th inning. Let's take a look at the Orioles in-game box score, sponsored by a Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. Just 6 hits for the O's. 1 for Brian Roberts, an RBI for Tejada, an RBI for Jay Gibbons, and that's the run scoring. A run by Roberts and a run by Mora. And here's Castro. Thinks about bunting and takes a strike.
You got Tino Martinez in at first base, and Alex, they're playing like a little league infield. I mean, they're way in on the grass with respect to Castro's ability to bunt and his speed.
Right back to Wong. His 9th assist.
4 in a row.
That's got to be a record.
Man. He's not too happy with the throw he made to Tino, but
He's getting more tired from fielding than throwing tonight.
Right.
Here's another high hopper right back to him. He's handled everyone perfectly. A little low throw to Tino, but he can handle that.
Now, I wonder if they count those as pitches. Has Mel got that on the clicker? He's made 9 extra pitches to first base.
Pitch to Melvin Moore's strike.
And again, I mean, his fastball is all the readings we've seen have been 93 to 96, and the last couple innings 95 and 96.
count 1-2. There's a line drive base hit to center field for Melvin Mora. That's his second hit of the game. He's 2 for 3.
It's only the second ball I think they've really gotten airborne. And they're checking to see if Tom Gordon is ready. He was up throwing a little bit earlier. No. Going to get ready now, though.
And here is Miguel Tejada. There's a strike.
Tejada is really the player on the team that makes the, I guess you could say, how the team go. It's his personality. He's a hard player, plays every single day. Former MVP when he was with the Oakland A's. Signed with the Orioles as a free agent. His first year with the team last year drove in 150 runs.
And you can see Posada just ready to set up the target inside to Tejada, because here in Yankee Stadium it seems almost like by design he tries to inside out that ball. It's a much more convenient target to right than it is to left and left center.
Tejada is 2 for 3 tonight. And against the Yankees this year, he is 21 for 52. Chopped over the middle. Cano steps on second, one on to first. It's a double play. 4-4-3, and that'll do it in the 8th. No runs a hit, no errors, and because of the DP, nobody left on base. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees will try to snap a 2-2 tie with the Orioles. 2-2 game. And Jorge Posada will lead off against Eric Dubose. Trying to figure out that Cracker Jack puzzle. It seems like it's a dandy. It's a strike. 2 7-0 for each team. Yeah, 1-1.
Looked like Jorge was going to take one for the team there. That slow curve. He just got his back leg out of the way. He's drawn a couple walks, and here again with the expanded rosters, if he gets on here, you could look for the Yankees to pinch run for it.
Grounded to third. Mora with the tough hop. 1 away. With cameras high above Yankee Stadium, the Fuji Film Blimp is bringing us aerial coverage of tonight's game. To learn how you can win a flight on the Fuji Film Blimp, visit www.fujifilm.com/blimp. And the pilots today, Captain John McHugh, Captain Mike Dawson, and the cameraman is Rob Gunter, who does a great job. Thank you, Rob. If you hear us, nod. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. One thing about Dubose, if you're facing him, he doesn't throw all that hard. I think his best fastball is 86. Yeah. So you got to find a way to stay back. Some hitters will take a heavier bat to the plate. Some will just exaggerate putting more weight on their back leg. Change-up is his best pitch.
There's a strike.
Yeah,
Count 1-1.
I think this is how Hank Aaron lost a home run. He had a tough time hitting Kurt Simmons. I don't know if Joe Torre was catching that night or not. There's Todd Williams needed that, but Simmons was throwing so slow that the hammer took a step out of the box, ran up on him, and got called out, even though he hit a home run for being out of the batter's box.
So he's really at 756.
Yeah.
That's not telling how many he had rained out over there.
Again, it's another left-hander that just fastball, curve, and changeup that the Yankee hitters have had a little difficulty with.
Just missed outside, and the count full at 3-2.
72.
Lined into left center field. Matos is there. 2 outs.
Here's a look at Burning. That pitch was towards the middle of the plate, but he didn't gap it enough. It was almost just fairly straight away center field, and Matos has the type of speed he can easily run it down. And the fleet-footed Orioles center fielder makes the play.
Here's Robinson Cano. He's 1 for 3. Count 1-0. Cano lined out sharply to Gibbons in the 6th. Actually hit it too hard. The ball just did not sink. Count 1-1.
Boy, if there's some pitchers, potential pitchers watching this game, you can really see it. It's not necessarily how hard you throw, but the difference between the speed of your pitches, and it's just so tough for the Yankee hitters to wait and get comfortable against DuBose.
The 1-2. Breaking ball.
You know, if DuBose had thrown like this before he hurt his arm, he probably would not have been signed. So my point is, he was a hard thrower, was in the minors, hurt his arm, had surgery, and then had to learn how to pitch. That was a hanger right there.
Which is an old line pitching coaches have used for years. You never really learn how to pitch till you hurt your arm.
Yeah.
So you're forced to change speeds, and there's the hanger Kenny was talking about. Left it up and in, but the only thing Cano could do was pull it.
Change up.
Popped up left field. Surhoff is there, and he'll put it away. So DuBose has retired all 4 Yankees that he's faced. We take this to the 9th inning at the stadium. Orioles 2 and the Yankees 2. Well, they turn to Mariano Rivera. It's a tie game at home. There's not going to be a save situation, so they get Mariano here in relief of Chien-Ming Wang.
Yeah, what a job Chien-Ming Wang did. What a job Mo's done all year. There you see the numbers. More than a strikeout an inning. Not many base runners. And, you know, in these days, talking about the MVP race with David Ortiz as a DH and A-Rod, who has hitting numbers but also runs the bases and plays in the field. But I don't think there's been anyone more valuable to this franchise than that man right there.
Along with Jim Cott and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball here on the YES Network. It's a 2-2 game in the 9th inning. In the 7th inning in Tampa Bay, the Devil Rays lead the Red Sox 7-6. And in the 6th inning in Chicago, the White Sox have tied up the Indians 4-4. So sweaty all over the place. Gibbons against Rivera.
This is one of those situations where the specialization of the game actually makes the decision for Joe Torre. I mean, you look at Chien-Ming Wang, he certainly isn't tired. He's throwing just as well in the 8th inning as he was in the 1st. But, you know, if you leave Wang in and they score a run, they say, well, wait a minute, you got Rivera out there, and you know he's the best relief pitcher maybe in the history of the game, or one of them. And so right now, Joe's thinking is he can use this guy for an inning or two, doesn't want to take any chances on giving up a run, and figuring his team can score one.
Well, the 9th inning is Mariano's.
Yeah.
Gibbons is 3 for 17 lifetime against Rivera.
And that sounded good, but again, it's an indication that Gibbons, you heard about Mariano and you're saying the only way I can hit him, I got to get that bat head out. And when you do, you're either going to break your bat or hit it foul.
Well, of course, now it's up to Mariano and Jorge Posada to read the bat. Do they try and clip that outside corner?
Could not hold up on the pitch upstairs, and Gibbons is down on strikes. He can't believe it. He's saying that he checked his swing.
And Jim Wolf said that's not the way I saw it. And this is the Mariano trying to get it upstairs, and check please.
Yeah.
Time to go. Let's see if he does it. Nah, I don't think so.
Pretty close.
One more look. That bat head crossed home plate.
Yeah,
buddy.
see, if you're a pitcher in the dugout, say, nah, if you'd have hit it, it'd been a double.
Javi Lopez fouls one off. He's 3 for 11 lifetime against Rivera. Two.
Javi Lopez asking the umpires that pitch inside. You know, I've heard of umpires, hitters ask, was it a strike? And they said, after you swung at it, it was.
Popped up, shallow right. Going to be a tough play. And it's made by Tino Martinez, an over-the-shoulder play for the 2nd out of the inning.
Kitty, it looked like either Tino or Cano would have caught this.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a tough play, and you know from playing right field, nobody can help you. Everybody's looking at the ball. There's nobody there except the fans to say who's going to grab it. And Tino very alertly with the outstretched glove, and Cano was there just in case, who may have been able to catch it.
And there was a minimal amount of contact between the two, so nobody, I believe both gloves are in position to make the play. But Tino, maybe with the tougher angle, still hauled it in.
Here's B.J. Surhoff, 3 for 19 lifetime against Rivera. Popped up again. Cano and Tino. This time they can't make the play.
That was easier than the other one.
Yeah, it was.
I got just a little confusion over there near the tarp.
Cano actually knocked it out of Tino's glove, and they're going to call that no play. And you can see Tino's reaction at the end, though.
count 2-1. We're in the top of the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Yankees 2 and the Orioles 2. Including this one, 14 games remaining for the Yanks as they try to get into the postseason. Right down the middle with a fastball, 2-2. Crowd of 51,521 here at the stadium. Cutter's too far inside.
One thing about Mariano, when he misses with his cutter, most of it on the inside to left, he usually doesn't miss to the middle of the plate with the cutter.
Served into left field, coming on Matsui, and he makes the play for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. Mariano threw 13 pitches to retire the Orioles in order. Yankees have a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th.
再回到洋基球场来看9局下半呢，2-2平手局面，洋基队现在要开始展开进攻。
Count 1-0. So far, the Yankees have not been able to solve the soft serves of Eric Dubose. He's retired 4 in a row. Struck out Matsui in the 7th and a 1-2-3 8th. Driven deep to right field. Going back, Gibbons looking up. See ya! A walk-off home run for Bubba Crosby, and the Yankees win 3-2. Bubba's first home run of the year, his 3rd hit of the game, and it gives the Yankees a very big 3-2 victory over the Orioles.
You think his feet have hit the ground yet? I mean, he floated around the bases. What a night for Bubba Crosby.
That is a legitimate smile right there.
Well, that soft stuff from Dubose was right on time for Bubba. We'll take a look. Let's see where they wanted low and away. It didn't quite get there. And Dubose knew that he wasn't getting that one back.
And Bubba had the pose after the swing.
That's kind of pose you see on a Wheaties box.
Yeah. Well, he recognized that sound, and so did Dubose, because as soon as the ball, watch Dubose's head, as soon as he made contact, he kind of, oops, I recognize that sound.
Well up into the bleachers. And the Yankee bench knew it as well. With Crosby came hope. The Yankees win 3-2 on a walk-off home run by Bubba. We'll be back.
又是一场非常精彩刺激的比赛啊！靠了再见全垒打，很多人都说棒球的比赛再见安打或者再见全垒打是最精彩啊结束的这种情况，用安打来说再见，结果没想到这个安打还是一个再见的全垒打，而且是 被不被大家所认为可能出现的一个打击者，就是第9棒的 Crosby。今天的钻石打线当中，大概他是最不被大家所看好，结果他击出了这个全垒打，使得洋基队在4连战的第1场比赛拔得了头筹。当然，国内的观众最注意的还是王建民的投球。我们再来看一下王建民今天8局的精彩的一个投球的内容。王建民今天总共投8局，只被打7支零星的这个1垒安打，这就是刚刚这个王建民今天最重要的就是出现了让打者太多的内野的滚地球，尤其是投手前的这种软弱滚地球，让王建民有非常多下球来防守的机会，结果他没有发生任何一次差错，每一次都能够确实的把跑垒者给刺杀在1垒之前。所以这场比赛王建民不但是投得好，而且他的防守也是非常的出色，所以才造成了洋基队能够在5局下半追平比数，然后一路打到9局下半，靠一个再见的全垒打来赢得这场比赛的胜利。所以王建民今年的投球不但是投得好，防守也非常出色，将会带给总教练 Joe Torre 非常伤脑筋。因为如果礼拜4晚上，也是台北时间礼拜5的早上 ，Mike Mussina 要上来主投这个对精英队4连战的最后一场比赛的话，那到底哪一位先发投手要从先发的阵容当中退出来的？那查康前一场比赛投得非常出色，王建民这场比赛投的也是不遑多让。那看起来昨天被这个球打伤退场的 Jerry Rice 是非常有可能要退出这个先发的阵容当中，我们希望是如此。那这样王建民就会在这个周末对蓝鸟队的比赛，不管是在礼拜天或者礼拜6上场先发，我们就可以继续看到王建民的投球。公共电视绝对会为您密切注意王建民的一个状况，他上场的时间，来为您做现场直播的服务。那今天转播工作就到这里暂时告个段落了。谢谢你的收看，我是袁定文，我们下一场精彩的美国职棒大联盟的比赛再见。
事实胜于雄辩，王建民取代 Aaron Small 站稳5大先发。5个月前初登板的羞涩，5个月后对手无助的深刻。王建民再战多伦多蓝鸟，彻夜未眠的痛快美妙。公共电视9月26号星期一凌晨1点现场直播。